Here we go, folks. It's September 15th, 2020. Today we're talking about fall fishing techniques, Lucky Craft Advantage, the Daiwa Advantage, and West Coast Dominance with Major League Fishing Pro Brent Ehrsler. All of this and more for you tonight, live on Bass 365. There we go, folks. Like we said, we have a big show for you tonight. Of course, I'm Mikey Moser, and with us, as always, is the man, Ricky B.
What's up, guys?
Ricky, you're not coming from your usual studio over here, Ricky. We know you're on site and at a secretive location. Let's leave it at that.
That's right. We got to leave it right there. Lots of good things going on. I'm pretty excited to be here and to be working on another live cast. I think everyone has gotten better and better, and we got to go ahead and bring our guests in because we can't keep them waiting. The man.
No, we got a big guest today. We're really excited to be talking to him. We're talking about California kid Brent Ehrsler, and we got a lot of stuff that we want to talk to him about and a lot of stuff to learn, but we're just going to bring him right in, guys. So here he is, Major League Fishing Pro, live from California, Brent Ehrsler. What's up, Brent?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good to see you. How are you? Oh, man, I get no complaints other than the rain down here in Florida. What's California weather like out there? Real good?
Oh, it's smoky. We've had some fires, and it's been.
Unfortunately, we're not talking about the bass bite either, are we?
No. We unfortunately, there's a real bad fire close to me. It's been looks overcast, but it's just from the smoke. It's been raining ash at my house, and
oh Jesus! But you guys are all safe right now.
Oh, we're good. They've actually they don't have it completely contained. It's been going for about a week and a couple days, about 8-9 days now. But I think they've got it almost under control. And fortunately, I don't think too many homes have been damaged. It's been mostly field and kind of forest kind of stuff. That's
incredible. All our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family and everybody else out in California and the whole West Coast out there. We hope things get better for you guys. But you know what? West Coast, and we're talking about West Coast, and you are obviously from California, and there just seems to be, I mean, you California guys, you guys kick butt out here. No matter what. I mean, West Coast dominance is what we're talking about in total here. Not just yourself. I mean, Justin Lucas, we all know what he's done this year. He may live in Alabama, but he is a West Coast guy, a California kid originally as well. Out there. We know Cody Meyer. There's a ton of you guys that have done very, very well. You know, and as a Florida guy, as a Southern guy, and I said this just a couple episodes ago, give me a Midwest angler any day because they're the most well-rounded anglers there are out there, in my opinion, as far as bass fishing. But you California guys, you got something going on there. Is there something in the water out there or something going on? What's happening to you guys? Why are you guys so good?
You know, it's. I think we have a broad spectrum of fishing out here. You know, granted, we have a lot of reservoirs, a lot of clear water, a lot of finesse techniques, but then you throw in a Clear Lake and Delta that kind of change the scenario. You get shallow and grass and big fish and that kind of stuff. So we have a broad spectrum of fishing opportunities out here. You know, you take Florida for example, and a lot of the lakes there look exactly the same. You know, you've got hydrilla, Kissimmee grass, lily pads, and reeds, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it. And we're fairly shallow everywhere you go.
Correct. You know, in California, you have those deep clear water reservoirs. You have the shallow grass you can fish. Now, granted, the deeper, clear reservoir type situations are more abundant out here.
Yeah.
So I think what you have is you have guys that are able to finesse fish as well as power fish, as well as fish shallow, grass type stuff. So you have a lot of opportunities to do different things. And, most of the lakes that we go to out here, they're the same lakes. I mean, we really have a couple clear water places and we got a couple shallow or stained water places. And when you're fishing big tournaments, you're going to just those places alone, and that's it.
That's right. You don't have the amount of lakes necessarily that you might down south, But we may have a lot of lakes, but like you said, they're all pretty much the same lake everywhere you go. And I think that's something that we really see, and at least I've learned firsthand being on tour with you guys, is you take the boys out of the South. Now we're power fishermen. We're used to flipping grass mats and shallow water power fishing. You take them and you put them up north, we do feel a little bit out of our element. But you California guys, you seem to do fine because you have that deeper delta waters and the deeper water that you have out there. But you also have the big fish. So like they want to say that us Southern guys, we got an advantage. Florida's got big fish. Texas has got big fish. Louisiana's got big fish. But California, you're actually got bigger fish than we got, don't you?
Man, there's some big ones out here, and it has changed a little bit. I haven't caught a real long time, and things have kind of slowed down a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of big fish out here still. What's different is that, what gives us those big fish are these smaller reservoirs that they stock trout in. And in the winter from November until March, they stock trout, and those big ones do nothing but feed on trout for a couple months, and they get so big and they get big fast. And the issue now is they're not stocking trout. It's very rare for the DFG to actually stock them. Now, I don't know if it's a money issue, if it's an invasive species issue. We've got all kinds of weird deals out here. But
yeah, you definitely do.
It was so fun for years. That's all I would do from late November until I had to leave for the tour, is I would just throw the big bait and that's it. And it was so fun because you go out there, you throw it all day to get one bite, and that bite is 6 to, my biggest is 12.
Jesus.
But I've seen 15s come up and nip at my bait. I've seen 17, 18 pounders that I can't catch.
That's just ridiculous.
But to see one of those big teen fish swim around, they look like a shark out there. It's just pretty amazing to see.
They almost don't look real. I had a 14 on the line and I lost it right at the boat, but I've gotten several 10 to 12s in that range. But when you see them that big, they just, to me, they don't look real. Like it just your mind plays tricks on you or something. It's like, this can't be right.
I saw one at Lake Casitas one time that I know was 17, 18 pounds. And then I was practicing for a FLW event at Clear Lake. And I saw him. Now, Clear Lake, I don't know what the lake record is, but it's not the high teens. A friend of mine did catch one 17 and didn't report it. So I don't know what the actual lake record is. But I saw one practicing there that I promise you was 15 plus. It had to be, when they get that big, they're hard to tell. But my estimate is wide.
They're as wide as they are.
And I fished for that fish every day of the tournament. I never saw it again, but in practice, I saw them twice, and it's scary how big they get.
It is.
A big spotted bass as well. Your buddy Cody's caught a couple giant spotted bass out there.
Correct. Sure. Yeah. You have Bullard's Bar up there that has a lot of big ones. Actually, there's a lot of lakes that do have big ones up there too. Bullard's has gotten a lot of attention, but there are other lakes that are, have very big fish in them. I fished Bullard's one time. I fished it with Zona years ago. We filmed a show, and it was really a lot of fun. I caught an 8-pounder. I caught a 7-pounder.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive for spotted bass. I've never been able to do it anywhere else. My biggest prior to that was 5, and I caught that at Smith Lake in Alabama.
Well, that's another great fishery, though. We all know you do the big swim baits out there, and it's been long speculated that the next world record is coming from California. They've been saying this for a long time. I think they had it with that body, if everybody remembers the story of her, but she got snagged rather than actually caught, I guess. But do you think the world record is still in California?
Man, that's a tough call. I'm not really in the know anymore out here, but I'm going to lean towards probably not. I think that our lakes are too heavily pressured now. I think that a lot of those big fish have gotten pulled out, and I don't think they're able to get that big anymore. We need less pressure. We need trout plants in order to get that world record fish.
That's crazy.
The one thing I've heard them always talk about out there, Mikey, has been when the trout truck pulled up and started dumping the trout into the lake. How exciting it got for a little bit, right? Because I guess they would just gorge on them as they were dumping the trout into the lake. Did you ever get
I've seen them release them like that, but I've never seen them, pushing them right back onto the boat ramp. But I know those fish know, the largemouth know when those things are planted. I mean, it's like there's an energy level in that water that goes across the whole body of water when they stock trout. And I don't know what it is, but I promise you, a fish that is a mile away from the boat ramp knows when those fish are being stocked.
Oh yeah, that dinner bell goes off. That's right.
There's something weird about it. The whole lake the best way I could describe it is the whole lake just has like this static electricity to it. There's just things start getting goofy.
So in your eyes, it's the trout. The trout are the key out there. So I need to figure out how to get a whole bunch of trout into my little lake behind my house and get these big Florida fish out there.
Well, think about it. Trout they're a nutrient dense fish. They're a high fat content fish, and there's no spines on them. It's not like a bluegill where they lodge them in their throat and they almost die. A trout is almost like a water dog or salamander, but high fat content. Man, they slip those things down and they get fat fast.
That's pretty awesome. Now, you're working on the Major League Fishing Tour and Bass Elites before and FLW at a time. Most of your tournaments, they're going to end up out here on the East Coast or even the Central States or whatever. Would you like to ever see the tours go back to California?
Oh, 100%. I like fishing out here. What's funny is I can't really say that it's my home water anymore.
Right. You're never here.
I fished Lake Okeechobee and probably Beaver Lake in Arkansas, probably more than I fished Clear Lake and Delta, here in California. So it's not like they're my home waters, but they're some of my favorite fisheries across the country. And to come out here and be able to fish a MLF format, the Bass Pro Tour, and go to a Havasu or Clear Lake or Delta and be close to home would be great.
Yeah, wouldn't that? That is nice when it works out that way.
I think Delta is 7 hours from my house. Clear Lake is 9, so they're not close, but believe me, I could drive home and unpack and organize and repack again to make that trek back east again.
So, Brent, you're in Southern California, right? Which is
correct.
A lot different from Northern California. I mean, I've been to Northern California a couple times, and it's actually really beautiful. I was there a couple years ago in the fires. So, yeah, I mean, y'all have got some great fishing out there. But I want to move on to Lucky Craft, and I want to talk some Lucky Craft techniques. And, if you have any baits you can show us, that would be awesome. I do have a new bait that's an old bait that I can kind of throw at you and get your opinion here in a minute.
You got it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking at mid-September already. I don't know where this whole year went by, but maybe not so much where I'm at down in South Florida or in Florida here, but all across the country, we're getting towards that fall transition. It's about to start. Why don't you talk a little bit give us some of your tips on the fall transition and how you would use that to your advantage.
You got it. Early fall for me is topwater. And I really have probably 3 phases of the fall. Early fall, late summer, early fall is all about topwater. Then it would probably transition into a jerkbait a little bit. And then after the jerkbait, for me, I would say full swing of fall, late fall, it's all about the 1.5. That's all I do. Yeah. But right now, I mean, to me, the Gunfish 95 is one of the best schooling baits you could ever have. When the fish are actively pushing bait, there's something about that topwater that gets bit way more than anything else. Now, I don't necessarily use that as a covering water bait. If I'm going to cover water, then I'll go with the Gunfish 115, the bigger size, or the new Sammy 108. And Sammy 108 it's starting to become one of my favorite topwaters that they make. In fact, I did go fishing last week out at Lake Paris, and I caught some. Lake Paris is a small lake by my house that I fished. I caught a good one in the morning, and then it got real tough the rest of the day, and then the wind picked up. I was about ready to go home, and I go, I'm going to go chuck that 108 up there kind of around some shallow grass. man, I had some monsters blasted. I never caught them. I only caught one. I had 3 that tomahawked it. I only caught one, and it was about 3 pounds, but the other ones were those 4 or 5 pounders. One of them hit it 3 times, and I never got them. It's like they hit it so hard, they go berserk and they miss it, you know. And that is a bait that you could throw right now. If I'm in a cover water, it would be either that 115 or that Sammy 108. Like I said, that Sammy 108 is different. It's a different style topwater than what LiveCasT has ever made in the past. Because in the past, they have the salmon and the gunfish that are real tail heavy. They sit in the water like this, which makes them easy for walking. But the problem with that is you can't fish it really slow. Right. So that 108 sits kind of parallel in the water, and you can fish it slow. Walk it one way, stop it. Walk it the other way and stop it. And it has 3 hooks on it as well. So your odds of landing that fish are a lot better when they come up and miss it.
I'm not even going to lie. I was actually throwing a gunfish 115 this morning, just a few hours ago. It's kind of like a gold shiner color. I just bought it. That bait walks so incredibly easy. I'm a big fan of the 95. I think the 95 is a bit smaller. It's got a little different shape to it, but it's kind of like a walking bait and a popper mix, like a hybrid. I really
the gunfish has a little bit of a the gunfish has a cupped bill on it.
Yeah,
it kind of looks like a popper, even though it's not. It's a walking bait. But the neat thing about that is every time it walks like this, every time it turns, that cup nose is catching water and throwing it to the side. So when it's walking, it's actually splashing water to either side. So it really has a unique action to it.
Yeah, it's got a great sound to it, that 115 too. It's got must have a big ball bearing in there. It's got a big knock every time you make it walk. It works well down here.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, when you're fishing in the fall, what do you? Let's just look at southern lakes or mid-Atlantic lakes, whatever. What are you looking for when you go out there? I mean, I think a lot of our audience is that mid-Atlantic audience. What are you looking for when you go out in the fall?
Right now in the fall, I would probably, when it comes to topwater, I'll probably be in the creeks and pockets. First thing and last thing is the best time this time of year. Early morning, late evening. That's when the fish are most active. And the next the next option outside of just the low light scenarios is wind. When you get wind, you can push that bait farther. Meaning that first light, you get out there, run into the backs of creeks and pockets where maybe if you even have a little bit of current in the back, maybe some fresh water's coming in. The shad get back there, the bass follow the shad. This is a prime time for those fish to be schooling. You look for areas where you think those fish are going to be schooling a little bit, where that bait tends to go. Bait is key. If you can get where there's any kind of flow in a creek, that shad's going to be there, the fish are going to be there, they're going to be schooling, and a prime place to be throwing that gunfish. But every place is different. Sometimes it's out in the main lake. Right now, a lot of the lakes, they catch them schooling in the main lake. You're usually in an area at the mouth of a big creek, the main lake points that go in. Sometimes they'll be there, sometimes they'll be right in the middle of the creek out there toward the main lake as well. So really, you kind of just have to keep your eyes open, look for the birds, look for the bait, and the fish won't be far behind them.
That's pretty awesome. Absolutely. The fall transition to me, it's got to be one of my favorite times to fish, no matter what. He said, even when I still got water temperatures in the high 80s down here. But I'm already seeing the big fish pushing up into the shallows, which isn't like a 2 foot difference for me. But nonetheless, the bait fish start pushing up in the fall, and you're going to find a lot of bass. But there's still a lot of bass to be found deep, I believe, too. And I think LiveCast's got a lot of good baits for that as well, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they make a great broad range of baits to throw right now. I mean, jerk baits, topwaters, poppers. I mean, the walking baits. I mean, they've got everything. It's, match the hatch and style of bait and run it.
So I'm going to throw something on you. You may not even know about it, but somehow or another I got my hands on a couple of them.
Got your hands on what?
Hands on a couple of these.
Let's see those.
But it's moon salt. It's a bait that we had and brought back, right?
Say that again.
Moon salt is a bait that we had and we brought back, right? Wasn't that like one of original
actual moonsault was a crankbait. Yeah, we made the moonsault years ago that had that real heavy rattle sound. They made it in a deep diver. You know, it ran about 10, 12 feet. You know, they called the moonsault 250, which was a killer deeper running 12-foot running, you know, crankbait. Man, Lake Mead, we used to absolutely smash them on that color right there, Ghost Minnow moonsault. The 1.5 moonsault is a new addition. They put the same concept into the 1.5. Now the moonsault 1.5 is going to be a phenomenal smallmouth bait. The rattles that are going to be in that thing, the amount of vibration that gets in the water. Really what you can do with that bait is it has that lipless crankbait sound to it. So what you're able to do is now throw a square bill around the type of cover that you want to throw a square bill, but have that action, that sound of a lipless crankbait. So it has a good variation to you know, 2 different baits out there. It's gonna be a fish catcher. I haven't tried it yet, but I promise you, a lot of fish will be caught on that here in the next year or two.
And what would your thoughts be on when you would throw this over? You know where I live. I mean, a 1.5 is a staple. When would you throw this over the conventional 1.5?
Yeah, that's going to be adverse weather, wind, rain, cloudy. Something that vibration and sound will move those fish from a long ways. Now, the unique thing about that, you don't really necessarily think about a square bill when you're fishing grass.
Right.
That is going to be a bait where I feel like it will be very valuable fishing around grass. The reason for that is it's going to have that lipless crankbait feel to it, the sound to it. Wind that thing around, ball it up in the grass, and snap it free. The difference between that and the lipless is that you're going to be able to control the depth a little bit better with that thing, or you can fish it slower if you need to. That sound is going to pull the fish from a long ways through the grass to come and find it, but you can feather that thing around the grass a little bit and pause it or wind it slow so it stays up higher in the water column as well. So there's a lot of things you can do with that.
That's pretty nice.
Right. So now that we're talking about 1.5 moonsault around grass, let's talk a little bit about the setup you would use to fish it, as far as your rod and reel and line selection.
Yeah, we all know that you're a big Daiwa guy. I'm excited to hear about these new tattoos and everything.
We talk all night long about that, right? And especially remember a fish catch on a 300, the first one ever, I think, was actually the first fish ever caught on the Tula 300. But I'll post that video sometime later on this week, and you guys can enjoy it.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, in the pond at the house I was staying at in Florida. Yeah, no, I've been with Daiwa for a number of years now, and you know, I've had the opportunity a couple years ago to design a couple rods under the Tattoo Elite series. All the guys, Randy, Ish, you know, Cody, you know, we all designed rods and specific for certain techniques. And there's a couple of things that I felt like we needed in the Daiwa lineup that we didn't have. And glass was one of them. I really wanted some good glass rods for cranking.
Right.
Our throwing crankbait on a glass rod. We didn't have any good glass rods at the time. So I designed, well, actually 3 glass rods. One is an 8-foot for deep cranking. One's a 7.4 for throwing 2.5s, 3.5s, and chatterbait for throwing that jackhammer. And then this one that I would use for the 1.5, we call it the small medium crank. It's a 7.2 medium action glass rod. And it has a great parabolic bend to it, has a soft tip to it. Really good for casting that 1.5 around targets. That's what I would use for it. Literally, I designed that rod for throwing the 1.5. I mean, it's such a good rod for that bait. I throw that crankbait probably 70% of the time when I'm throwing a crankbait. It's usually a 1.5. And that's the rod for doing it. The Tattoo Elite reel. What people don't understand about that Tattoo Elite reel, you put that on that rod, you can cast that bait so much farther. Not only can you cast that bait farther, you can get it deeper because of it. You don't really think about getting a 1.5 deeper, but if you're in a situation where you do want to get deeper without going with a too deep of diving crankbait, you can get it deeper. The other side of that too is because of the fact that it is a easy casting, a distance casting rod, it's less effort to make those smaller casts. You barely flick that thing and it just takes off. So the Tattoo Elite reel, I usually throw on 14 pounds Sunline FC Sniper. If I'm around heavy cover, then I throw a 16-pound Sniper, but 14 and 16 are the two sizes I use. And then I swap out the hooks with, it depends on the cover. If I'm heavy covered, it's a short shank EWG Gami. Open water, I usually use either the round bend Gamis or the G Finesse medium wire. Or sorry, the medium heavy G Finesse trebles on that. So I kind of go back and forth on those. I think open water, where I think the fish are really swatting at it more. I like that G Finesse. I feel like I hook them better. If I'm catching more fish and I really want to, have that opportunity, or not the opportunity, but if I'm fishing around a little bit of cover, then I probably use that round bend more than I use the G Finesse. So I don't have one set of hooks. I'm not like Kevin. Kevin goes out and he just puts that EWG on everything he throws. I'm not like that. I throw different trebles for every situation. So round bend, EWG, and the G Finesse. So I have 3 sets of trebles that I use on that 1.5.
So, Brent, talk a little bit about the T-wing system. And, by now, everybody's bound to have heard about it. But just kind of talk a little bit about how it works and why it enables you to make a longer cast.
The Tattoo Elite, why it makes a longer cast?
Well, yeah, the T-wing system on the Tattoo reels. It makes so much sense.
I glaze right over the T-wing system all the time, and I apologize. The reason why I glaze over it is that we've had it for so long now that I kind of forget to even talk about it. Really, the T-wing system is the level wind on that bait. So the level wind, if you think about a standard reel, you have a level wind that's round. And when you cast, that line is going off the spool. It's trying to fit through that little level wind.
Right.
Well, because of the friction in that little level wind, your line is going to slow down right there at the spool. And when it slows down, guess what? You start getting that overwind in the spool, which turns into a backlash. The T-wing system, when you're reeling it, you have that narrow level wind. But when you click the thumb bar, it folds forward, and now the level wind is bigger. And what happens is you have less friction when the line is coming off. Less friction means fewer backlashes and farther casting. So you have that T-wing system on that Tattoo style reel, but then that Tattoo Elite reel is actually designed for distance casting. They have the air brake system in there. So when you cast, you have that quick break kind of at the very beginning, and as that spool starts to slow down, the magnet starts to fold in, which allows less pressure on that reel, so that you have a consistent, smooth cast all the way through the cast. Where every other reel out there, you have a standard set of braking on that spool. This one adjusts based on the centrifugal force of that spool. We make a hard cast, it expands out really fast and has more braking power on it than it does when that spool is moving slow. So when it starts moving slow, that weight or that magnet starts to pull in, less resistance, farther cast. So that's kind of the dummy version that I can say real quick, but it's designed for distance casting. I'm telling you, it's no joke. It's not a gimmick.
That's incredible. People see these reels out there, and I say 90% of the consumers, the first thing they're looking at is price. But there's a reason why what makes a reel an elite reel compared to your average run-of-the-mill bait caster or whatnot. And that's a great explanation right there. That's one of the Daiwa advantages that they've come up with that actually makes that an elite style reel.
And we do have a video somewhere on that system, T-wing to the braking system, that I will get posted in the next few days as soon as I can find it. But we do have it. It's there, and I'll get it out there.
Yeah. No, it's Daiwa's done such a good job, the amount of R&D that they've put into making these reels what they are. is pretty impressive. And to be honest with you, the Tattoo Elite is a cheap reel. I want to say it's in that 170 range. I don't quote me on that. I know it's under $200.
It's very reasonable.
That 200 mark. But here's the thing: they should be charging $300 or $400 for that reel. It's so good. I don't know why they're charging that amount. Same thing with the Tattoo SVs. Man, they're giving those things away, and I'm shocked they're doing them for that price. They're that far above and beyond what the competitors are using, pushing out on the market for that same price. And it's like, man, if I was over there, I'd be like, hey, that thing needs to be higher.
Yeah, that's absolutely. They are absolutely beautiful reels, and I've worked with several of you guys that are Daiwa guys, and I mean, I have never, even throughout the industry in all my years, I mean, there's a reason why Daiwa's got the reputation. God, those are fantastic reels. I'm really excited. One that I really want to get a hold of myself, it's my next reel on my list that I got to buy, is that new pitch and flip reel. That thing looks, I don't even want to say it, it looks amazing.
It is, man. It's there's something about that reel when you flip and pitch with it. It's so smooth. There's something about that big handle on there. That big 100 millimeter handle. The knobs are a lot bigger on it as well. When you set the hook, it almost has that feel where you set the hook and you're winding, and it feels like your drag is set loose, and you don't hear it. It almost has that feel to it. No, that fish is coming at you that fast. There's something about that leverage on that handle. It's unbelievable, the power that you have with that thing, and those big knobs, that big handle, 100 millimeter handle. That thing is meant for pitching and flipping. I don't know why companies haven't really come out with a pitch and flip specific reel like that sooner.
Yeah,
but Daiwa has done it, and they knocked it out of the park.
I just think it's one of those techniques that's just too overlooked. People don't realize how powerful of a technique pitching, flipping, punching really is. I mean, I may be a southern guy or whatever, but it doesn't matter where you go. Bass, Lake Mead, Shade, they don't have eyelids. They're going to be under mats. So that's a phenomenal reel. I'm really excited. It's definitely the next one I got on my list to buy out there for sure. But it's just a huge lineup that Daiwa has. They're all new.
I can tell you that, being around Brent and the guys for however long we've been doing the Elite Series rods and reels, this is the stuff they use. It's no joke. And Brent may use a Cody Meyer reel or rod, and it may use a Brent EHRLER rod, and Takahiro has got his lineup. It really is. It's the exact same stuff that these guys use, and I think a lot of times, when we're doing this stuff and seeing it, the guys talk about it, but it's not really the exact product they're using. You can go to Tackle Warehouse and buy the exact rod and reel that Brent EHRLER throws a square bill on, and there's something to be said for that. Daiwa has done a phenomenal job.
Yeah. And one thing, going back to that flip and pitch reel, it has a real shallow spool on it. It's shallower than the SV spool. And Randy Howell told me that he's been using it for skipping docks. Now, that reel is a really smooth, really good casting reel. The neat thing about that is that shallow spool, you're going to have fewer backlashes, or at least not as deep of backlashes, because that spool is so shallow. And I kept meaning to try it. And then it was funny because Randy brought it up, saying that he uses it for skipping docks. I'm like, man, I kept thinking about that, but I never tried it. So I'm going to run that reel around skipping docks and see how it works.
He does. I've actually spoken to Randy about this exact thing. See, I saw some footage of his at Lake Fork, and he was skipping frogs under docks, and he got some of his best bass there, and that's what he was using with that pitch and flip. And then Daiwa got that long cast frog rod, the East Monroe one. Paired those two up or whatever, and that was a phenomenal combo for him.
Interesting, yeah. Oh, I didn't think about skipping a frog around docks like that.
Neither did I, but it worked well for him. He had some really good footage with that.
So, Brent, talk a little bit about the 300. I mean, it is a new product to the Daiwa lineup, the Tattoo lineup. A swim bait reel that we never had before. We've had some rods, but never had a swim bait reel, and now we have a true swim bait reel.
For sure. It's I was always throwing a Alexa 300 in the past, which I go out and catch a tune on it, and I go throw a swim bait when I get into the freshwater too. So having that Tatula 300, a couple things about it. You have that level wind, the T-wing level winds, the T-wing system on there. That's going to help for making those long casts. And they make it in several gear ratios too. So if a guy wants a really fast gear ratio, you can have it for burning baits. They catch them out here winding it as fast as you possibly can. So you have the ability to wind it really fast. The other neat thing about having a faster gear ratio is think about chucking a big bait. I mean, you can wing that thing 70 yards, I promise you. A big heavy rod, throw that Ishman Row swim bait rod. You're going to launch a big bait a long ways. Well, think about it. When that spool of line gets really narrow at the end of your cast, all that line is out there. When you're reeling that thing, you really don't have as much line coming in. So if you make a long bomb out there and a fish bites at the end of your cast, you're going to be winding real fast. Well, it's basically going to have about a 4 gear ratio to it because that spool is so small at the base. When your line's trying to go on there, it's trying to go really fast while you're burning that thing. A faster gear ratio reel is going to have you wind into that fish and get a good hook set on that fish at the end of a long cast. So no swim bait reels out there do that. They have a 1 gear ratio, chuck it, reel it in, that's it. You now have the option with that Tatula 300 to have a faster gear ratio. And I can't wait to try it this year. I told myself when it gets cold, I'm going to start throwing that big bait out here and have that opportunity of catching one of those 8-10 pounders. They don't really bite it that much, but you know what? I need to go out there and throw it. I just haven't been throwing as much. I got so caught up in a crankbait the last couple of years out here locally that it's kind of hard to put down a 2.5 DD knowing I can catch quite a few fish on it and have an opportunity of catching a 5-6 pounder. But maybe I need to put that down and throw a big swim bait and hope to catch an 8 or 10 pounder.
Those big swim baits are, everyone knows that's a California thing. They were born out there. You guys made them famous, and it's kind of created an entire culture around swim baits. I belong to several groups on Facebook that are swim bait only groups, and guys are, they're not only just using them, dedicated to them, they're collecting them. Like, it's a whole world when it comes to swim baits. I've tried them here in Florida, and I haven't had much luck with them, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I think it's my patience more than anything. I haven't got the technique down, that's for sure. So, Brent, next time you're coming down here, maybe we'll go out on the water and you can give me a couple tips on big swim baits because I need them.
So, Brent, we're going to start trying
to give you that information. I'm not a big swim bait guy. I believe I've caught plenty on it, but I'm not a specialist, that's for sure.
You got to do better than I'm doing. I promise that.
Brent, we're going to try to wrap this up and let you back to your family, but there's been a couple questions come in. I think we've answered most of them through through our conversation. But there's one question, I don't know if you can answer it or not, but in your opinion, how does the Garmin products compare to Humminbird?
I've been very, very impressed with the Garmin stuff this year. It is unbelievable. The amount of fish that I have caught that I would have not caught in the past is surprisingly different. A couple scenarios this year. I was idling ledges at Lake Chickamauga, and the side view and down view is so good on Garmin. I was idling on these ledges, and it was funny because I could see these schools on my side view. I'm zigzagging back and forth on these ledges trying to find these fish. And I'd make a sweep like this. I'd turn left, and I'd see this whole school of bass out on my side view on the right. I make the left-hand sweep to come back to them, and there they were. Now they're on 2D and down view. I actually had a school of fish. Here's how tuned in these fish are getting to people scanning over them. I would make a swing, and there'd be nothing there underneath the boat in 2D and down view. I could see fish out on the right. I make my next sweep like this, think I'm going to turn over them. I see them on my left. I keep going, and every time I'm turning, they keep going farther and farther away from me. I go, I got you suckers. So I go like this. I turn, and I go like 20 yards, 30 yards up, and then I make my turn over, and there they were. They're all on.
So you're like hurting them around.
You literally had to play cat and mouse with a bunch of bass out there. They're getting that smart on us.
They are, and I did that. But here's the other thing, too. with live scope pan optics, it's stupid. I've been blown away. I've seen so many things on that have completely blown me away. Now, again, Lake Chickamauga, I find a school of fish. I run there in the tournament. I'm catching them. They stop biting. Well, in the past, I would pull up to my waypoint and I would fish. And if they don't bite, they didn't want to bite, I leave and I go to the next school.
Right.
Well, now I would pull up. I'd catch a few. Maybe they'd stop. I would start zigzagging around with my trolling motor looking for these stupid fish with my pan optics. And I would see them and I'd cast them. I start catching them again. And then they leave and I move a little farther. Oh, there they are. And I start catching them. It got to the point where I was not casting until I found the school. I wouldn't even cast at individuals or anything. I would wait until I saw that school 75 feet out in front of me. I'd catch them every cast for about 5 casts. And I'd bust up the little school. And I was chasing these schools up and down this ledge in like a 100-yard span. They would move in. They'd move out. They'd go out here. They'd come out off the ledge. I caught them way out in open water off the ledge. You are never going to find those fish with traditional sonar. These fish aren't even on the ledge up on the top. They're out behind me, and I'm catching them. It's like, really? I was blown away. Now, that was the first time that happened to me this year. The second time, we went to Sandusky. I ran up to Lake St. Clair, and the first day I caught them, it was windy. You could kind of float around and catch them. Well, day 2, it was slick calm. And I go, man, this is going to be tough. It's going to be hard to find these fish, hard to catch these fish. Well, I see one out there 75 feet on my pan optics. I flick it over there and he eats it. Okay, I catch that fish. I put it in the live well. I go 5 minutes. I see another one out there. I flick it out there. Well, I lose them this time. Well, then I go, well, I'm just going to start looking for these guys on pan optics. And I literally just started going around, just moving around. You see one, you start going this direction. Then you catch them. Then you catch another one. And then you don't see anything for a second. You start going this way, that way. You start heading towards a waypoint. And then you see one off to the side. Next thing you know, you're going the opposite direction of your waypoint. And you're catching them the whole way. I caught every bass for 2 days straight on pan optics. I never caught one casting, drifting, dragging, doing anything. I caught every one of them for 2 days straight at Lake St. Clair on pan optics. Saw every one of them, made a cast, watched my drop shot land on a skull, and he bit it, and I reeled him in.
So I got 2 follow-up questions to that. One of them, do you remember 10 years ago, you and I did a podcast on electronics? I don't remember what you were running then, but it was like we were blown away by how good they were. And now that stuff back then is junk compared to this, right?
It is. It's kind of crazy. You know, the direction that Garmin is going it's the future of sonar fishing. It really is. That company, for how strong they are and for how young they are in this industry, is amazing to me. You know, they haven't really been around. They have not pushed the bass market for very long. I'm scared to see what they're going to do in 2, 3, 5 years from now. I really am. That company, the amount of technology they have, the brains that they have behind the product, to see what they've already done in their infancy in the bass side is unbelievable. I'm excited to see what they have in the future.
So the next question is kind of a no-brainer. I know what the answer is going to be, but is it worth it? Pan optics, is it worth it?
Well,
that was the answer you needed right there.
All right. I mean, I knew it, but I had to ask the question because it's on there, right?
Okay. Well, so I had one tournament that I'm convinced I cashed a $10,000 check in because of those units. And then the next tournament, I cashed a $14,000 check. So there's 24,000 reasons why you should have it.
So, yeah, that definitely makes up for the added cost, just for sure. I know.
I cashed 2 checks that I'm convinced were solely based on Garmin.
Right.
I would not have done it otherwise. That's 24 grand. You know, if you're a tournament guy, the first time you go out and you see the value of that, I mean, you're going to cash the check. You're going to pay for it on the, you know, one of your first, second tournaments.
For sure. And we hear this question all the time. You know, Why do I need electronics? I've never had them before. I don't need them now. I catch fish all the time. Yeah, you do. And no, you don't need them. But if you want to improve your game today, get those electronics. They will. They will absolutely help you catch more fish. And when you're on a tournament level where you're talking, this is your living, how you make your living. Yeah, you guys need those. Absolutely.
The crappie fishing has completely changed as well. I know a lot of guys that crappie fish in the winter. They swear by the crappie tournament guys. You know, they'll tell you that if they don't have it, they're not going to compete if other guys have it, because they're going to get beat by the ones that do. Yeah. And I've seen the stuff. You see these crappie underneath the docks. It's crazy. You see them out on pole timber, huge schools of crappie, and I mean, you just cast right to them and catch them.
But I've touched on this in past shows too, and it's not just that you can see the fish; you can see how the fish react to what you're doing as well.
Yes.
So it's easier to make those adjustments rather than wasting another 20 minutes on the wrong color or the wrong leader length or whatever it is. You see the fish; you got their attention, but they're not hitting. You know, so that to me is head over heels the biggest advantage to pan out things.
You know, that's something that I didn't touch on, and you're dead on that, buddy. Their fish's reaction. You cast to them sometimes, and you see them swim away. You cast to them sometimes, you see them swim towards it. Your reaction on how you work that bait. Sometimes you move it, and they don't like it, and you let it sit there, and you'll see them get closer and get closer and get closer. Sometimes they won't touch it, and you start to reel it in real fast. Oh, they start flying up after it. You can trigger those fish almost like bed fishing. When you're looking at a fish on the bed, you're watching how that fish reacts to what you're doing with that bait. You can now do that from a long ways away. You have fish do things to that bait that you have no idea were possible. You know, when you make a cast, you're fishing blind. You're fishing a bait. You have no idea what's going on. Now you're able to see the fish's reaction when you do what you do with that bait.
Absolutely. And like I said, and those kind of things are the advantages that are going to make you a better angler altogether. It's easier to learn from that, for sure.
Well, it's not going to make you a better angler. You're just going to catch more fish because of it.
Well, there you go. Hey, it makes me a better angler. I'm going to go with that. It'll make me a better angler.
You are a better angler because you catch more fish. But
that's right.
It's because that's the thing you're looking at.
That's how I'm selling it, and I'm sticking to it.
So, and I will say that we're not biased at Bass365. No, everything that's out there is really good right now, and it's leaps and bounds. I mean, I can remember the hummingbirds with the red dots on them. What were they? That's like 40 years ago. If you had that, you were the man. You had the right stuff, and I'm pretty proud of these companies and the way they've advanced and made fishing what it is today. I mean, you guys are very talented. I've had this argument many times. I know you golf. Golfing is easy compared to what you guys do, because golf would be a challenge if I could have a string tied to that golf ball, and every time you went to hit it, I got to jerk the golf ball. Then it would be about the same level. Just saying, you guys are super talented. It's amazing to watch you do what you do and be as privileged as we are to be a part of it.
Absolutely. To me, it's always been a lifelong dream to be at the level that you're at. I obviously am not there, but now working with you guys, I get to see and I learn so much from you guys every day. The thing that I probably have taken away most working with you guys than anything else is what I see puts you at the level is your accuracy and your execution. They're top notch, and that's what I've taken that, and I've tried to improve my game by watching you guys, how accurate you are with your casts and how well you execute when you in that spot. Not so much about colors or sizes or anything like that. It's the execution and getting in the right spot at the right time.
No, that's definitely true, and there's a lot of anglers that are so much better at it, and just like you said, efficiency out on the water, being more efficient. When you're under a time crunch, you have to basically be more efficient with every single cast, and it's just time on the water. That's what it's funny, because you get someone in the boat and they see you make a cast and they're like, I don't know how you do that. And you go, well, I do it 10,000 times every single day.
Right.
So
well, if you dangle $100,000 paycheck in front of me, I'm probably going to work a little bit harder too, though.
So, hey, Mikey, we need to kind of shut this down. I told Brent we were trying to keep him for 30 minutes, and it's been almost an hour now. And I can tell you, Brent, that once we got started, it would be a lot of fun. We'd have a good time. Thanks for being on here. You know, we got a lot of work to do, and hopefully we can have you back on again.
Yeah, absolutely, Brent. We appreciate it so much. We're really happy that you came here, and you taught us a lot.
Check it out, guys. It's going to be a game changer.
Absolutely. So, Brent, before we let you go, though, you answered a lot of questions for the guys out there. You've taught us all a lot, and we love watching you and dealing with you. Where can they follow Brent Ehreler out there?
You got just Brent Ehreler app, whatever it is, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm more active on Instagram and Facebook, but hit me up, follow me if you can. Great. If shoot me a message. If you have a question about a tattoo lead or the moonsault that Ricky's got in his hands. I'm hit or miss on getting in there and actually doing. I'm actually doing very well at getting caught back up and replying. If people have questions, hit me up. It's me. It's not someone, it's not someone out there that's running my stuff for me. It's all me. So if you get a response from me, that's coming directly from me, and I'd love to help out. I know people always have questions about the Tattoo Elite stuff and rods as well. They have questions about what actions for what baits. Man, if you're wondering about a bait, hit me up. Or I'm not going to tell you, hey, don't buy my, I'm not going to, I don't actually benefit from selling just my signature series rod. That whole Tattoo Elite series is such a good series. I'm going to tell you right out, point blank, I would get the Ishman Rowe flip and stick for pitching over my 7.3 multi-purpose. I'm going to tell you what's better for what technique.
That's awesome.
So, Mike, I just feel a little bit of thunder from you because you came up with this, but I'm going to ask the question.
Good.
So, Ehreler, top 15 all-time money winner with a career earnings of $2.9 million. Will you break $3 million this year?
This next year?
Yeah, next year, 2021.
You're close. According to Major League Fishing,
learn if you do.
Yeah, according to Major League Fishing website, you are 2,930,000 right now. So you're this close. Is this the season?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to hear.
Is that to me getting a loan, or is that you're going to break the $3 million, or is that both?
I'm going to break the 3.
That's awesome. We will be the first ones to buy you a beer when you do. I promise.
Absolutely, Hammer. We will be right there when you do it.
That's awesome. Go on, guys. We're going to shut it down right now. We had a great time with Brent out here. Guys, as we were talking with 2006 Forest Wood Cup champion Brent Ehreler, 9 career wins, 48 top 10s, and in the top 15 of all-time career money winnings. Brent Ehreler. Brent, it was fantastic having you. We appreciate it very much, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys, we're going to shut it down. Ricky, you got anything else?
Yeah, we probably need to chat a little bit when he gets off here.
All right, we're going to
figure out how much alone. I mean,
we'll let you get back to your family. But stay safe in the fires out there. We'll be thinking about you. Thank you very much, Brent.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Talk to you, man. Bye.
What a dude. What a great dude.
I mean, it's Brent and I have been friends for a long time. I was there when he won that cup. Yeah, good dude. And I mean, he's a hell of a fisherman. Hell of a fisherman. It doesn't, he's a little bit humble, but I wouldn't want to fish against him. How about you, Mikey?
No, I'd love to fish with him.
But not against him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess we got some other news we need to talk about. Thursday night, right? Yep. We're on Thursday night. We're going to have another California guy.
We're doing the West Coast swing.
Yeah, I mean, the West Coast swing for Bass365. Tony Meyer, who is a great friend, awesome angler, and arguably one of the best spinning rod fishermen in the world.
Absolutely. I can't wait to talk to him about those big spots you were talking about.
I've had him kick my tail multiple times with that spinning rod. So, yeah, stay tuned. we may even, I'm here at a secret location this week. We may even try to grab Jordan Lee for everybody knows who Jordan Lee is, right?
Absolutely.
Alabama Hammer. That's right. Alabama Hammer.
Yeah.
We might try to grab Jordan Lee for a quick little deal at some point this week before we get out of here. But Mikey, you're doing a fantastic job. Glad to have you part of Bass 365. We've got big things coming. This is our third one of these. I think it was a huge success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're working the kinks out, and we're having a lot of fun no matter what.
Right,
this has been great. We can't, I mean, who would not have fun with a guest like we've had? And we have more guests coming. So, guys, stay tuned. This was only number 3. We're looking at Tuesday nights at 7 and Thursday nights at 7 to do.
Honestly, if you guys want to see anything, you have a thought that you'd like to see for a show, Bass365.com on Facebook. Send us a message and we can get it done. We just need to know what you guys want to see and how we need to work it out.
Absolutely. We'll make the arrangements.
I'm going to throw this in a little pond tonight.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure that you're following for all your information, all the pros, all the tournaments, all the products that are coming out there. Make sure you're following us on all our channels, not just here on YouTube. We got Bass365.com on the web, Bass365.com on Facebook, Bass365 on Instagram, and we have even more coming. We're just working out the kinks with it still.
And pretty soon there's going to be another pretty big thing, but I'm not going to say what that is right now.
Exactly. We're going to leave that as a big surprise for now. But folks, we appreciate that you stay here. Ricky, awesome. You stay safe up wherever you are. We don't want to give it away, and we'll talk to you very soon.
I will tell you, I have long pants on.
Yeah, I'm definitely not where I am.
Long pants, and probably will wear a jacket at some point tonight. But we'll get it figured out. Mikey, appreciate it, man. Awesome job. We will see you on Thursday right here with Cody Meyer.
There we go, guys. I hope you guys liked that, enjoyed it. Make sure you follow on everywhere, and we will see you on Thursday.